Hello, it's me, Clockwork. This message is intended for Vexar and Maximum Overdrive of the Time Travel Forum Paranormalis. If you are not the intended recipient of this message, please pause this video immediately and delete it to prevent further damage to your system. Alright. Moderators. As a senior member of our community, I am obliged to tell you of the disappearance of one of our most fierce and intrepid comrades, MX Francis Lain of Cape Town, South Africa. 3 weeks ago I received the following message. I've not heard from Francis since receiving this message. After I hacked their Tor browser, I discovered a dump of code unlike anything I had seen before. Although it was encrypted and I couldn't break the encryption, it seemed to me as if the bits of code were jumping between states. I couldn't tell whether dimensional, spatial, or temporal. Every time I've gotten close to cracking the code, my system has short-circuited. My drives have been fried. I've got nowhere. I believe that Francis is involved with a group known as the Warp Demons, an anarchist collective who, like us, have dedicated their lives to exploring the unknown, to searching for gateways to dimensions beyond this plane. Further, I believe that Francis has found such a gateway and elected to venture forth alone. I say this with some amount of shame, but I fear they will not find their way back. Therefore, I have no course but to leave this matter in your hands. Please let me know as soon as it is resolved, and if I have not heard from you in 62 days, expect further communications. Yours in space and time, Clockwork Walrus, signing off.
I'm thinking about places in the earth where there's kind of dense concentrations of energy. But what I'm really interested in is kind of fragile spaces, either on the surface of the earth or in the sky, where there's a kind of a rupture or an opening that can make space for another type of opening, like a portal. Like volcanoes, spaces that kind of push energy out of them. Earthquakes, sinkholes, canyons, whirlpools, hurricanes, fields of lightning, cracks in pavements where moss grows, the inside of seeds, cave mouths, spaces behind waterfalls, glaciers. What's happening now that the glaciers are melting is that these memories, these moments, these energies from the past are being released, and it's creating a kind of a chaos. It's creating a kind of state where the earth is like thrown into a volatile situation.
There was a group of kind of hardcore Buffy fans, and this is kind of actually developing alongside when I was developing my magic practice, and I was really kind of inspired by the like cyber pagan vibes, and I guess that kind of developed into a conversation about interdimensional travel and what that means in terms of an online context, and like how we can kind of develop those ideas and what that means. And then one thing kind of led to another, and we started talking about portals and travel and stuff, and then it became like more of a developed group, and we started meeting up and stuff. And then over time it kind of shifted a lot. New members came in, people left. But the goal has always been to locate and hopefully pass through some kind of portal.
Okay, so in terms of my research, I've been looking at, for example, Jonathan Strange. There's an incredible section here. Yes. Oh yes, indeed. There is indeed a path which joins all the mirrors of the world. It was well known to the great medievals. No doubt they trod it often, right? So think about a mirror. When you look in a mirror, you're saying that you're seeing a reflection of yourself. And, you know, one would immediately think this is a reflection of yourself in this world as you know it. But think about this reflection possibly being a reflection of yourself in another world. I mean, this is echoed throughout literature. Think about Alice through the looking glass, right? There's the possibility of like the mirror being a way of accessing that reflection of yourself in another world. And it actually reminds me of here in The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, C.S. Lewis, similar to mirrors, but not exactly, you know, paintings. It says here, Eustace jumped to try to pull it off the wall, the painting, and found himself standing on the frame. In front of him was not glass, the glass like pane in front of the painting, but real sea, and wind and waves rushing up to the frame as they might to a rock. He accessed this world. The glass, which we think is just this sort of finite thing which we can knock against, actually there's something beyond that, and we need to find a way of actually accessing that. I mean, if you think of something else, solid, the concept of solidity, Philosopher's Stone, platform 9 3/4. I mean,
So increasingly anti pretty much everything that's happening in the world. Especially considering the very recent election of Donald Trump as President of the United States being another indicator of the increasing right-leaning direction that we are headed in. And it's really making me want to find the portal out of here in evermore.
Hair like worms into the earth, salt the soil of your birth. I send you back from whence you came, cishet man, I bind your name.
Hair like worms into the earth, salt the soil of your birth. I send you back from whence you came, cishet man, I bind your name. Hair like worms into the earth, salt the soil of your birth. I send you back from whence you came, cishet man, I bind your name. Hair like worms into the earth, salt the soil of your birth. I send you back from whence you came, cishet man, I bind your name.
Hair like worms into the earth, salt the soil of your birth. I send you back from whence you came. Cishet man, I bind your name.
So what happens in the spell is that I bind the hair, and then I use this flower, which is deadly nightshade, but also it's other than this morning glory. So it's got kind of the poisonous connotation, but also the kind of generative, life-giving, like the fresh beauty of the new day to it. So this is the physical seed.
Sow the seed, feed the earth. From fertile soil we reap new birth. Towards the sun, these plants grow strong. And bind this man from doing wrong.
Birds flying, like that must be so crazy, dude. Like, your experience of movement is unlike anything else in this entire world. Like being a cheetah, just being the fastest thing running on land, like a whale. Imagine being a whale, like no one fucks with you, you're a whale. Like you swallow schools of fish, like, but you're also like so harmless. My personal ideology is completely identities, taking on many bodies, taking on many personalities and egos. So what interests me about going into a portal is hopefully never coming back and creating a new life with new elements and new alchemists in this dimension. So I've been training Titus to basically sense and detect and feel antimatter and anti-aura protons and particles. But how I go about that is synthesizing and alchemicizing natural substances and chemicals that I find in the earth, in water, in plasma, in the air. So I've done a few experiments over the past few weeks, past few months, and Titus has been very involved. We've been putting our brains together, and ever since I saw him, I knew he was a special dog. So we are here today on an expedition on the Western Cape Mountains on planet Earth in this dimension right now, looking for a portal. I checked the weather this morning and it said that it's a beautiful day for portal hunting. So here we go. Yeah? You guys ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Titus?
Jones wants to send, and the others want to send Titus through the portal because they see it as more of an experiment. They don't want to commit to going through themselves. It's fear. I'm very against it. I think Titus has no agency in this if they're just forced to go through. Titus can't agree to it. Especially with other people wanting to send Titus in, I think we need to have a bit of a moral guide rather than someone that just feels it out rather than thinks it out.
Portal's over there.
interdimensional photonic engineer.
I've gotten to the point where I'm a little bit over the world that we currently live in, and I've always been enticed by this sense of adventure, but I've never been like a sporty kid. So this is really my way of trying to find like the next space, the next opportunity. It's the next world where I don't know, I'm not bogged down by this cis heteropatriarchal capitalist bullshit. Like that's what I'm looking for, and I'm hoping that I'm going to find the right portal for that, because obviously there's an infinite number of universes and therefore an infinite number of portals. It's just about finding the right portal to find maybe some sort of socialist matriarchy. If I found a portal, I think that there's a series of steps that need to be put into process. I think that we need to be very clear about the strategy that we use to approach these kinds of situations, because as exciting as it would be to find one, and as much as I'd want to go in, we obviously need to run further tests to make sure that, we're going into the right portal, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you're going into a portal and it's a world that has been consumed by the bubonic plague, or a world in which Hitler didn't die. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of sending in test subjects, and I think I have the perfect test subject. So is this guy who works with us. He's called Cosmos the Traveler. And he's got this dog called Titus. Now Cosmos has been training this creature to sniff out portals, and obviously it's complete hogwash. You can't smell a portal. They don't have a smell. They're photons. They're made up of photons and supersymmetric particles. They don't have a smell. Ridiculous. But I reckon, you know, if we could use a dog to go to space in you know, satellites, why can't we use a dog to go through portals?
We did a hike on Monday. Portal hunting.
Obviously.
Cosmos brought Titus.
Oh, yes!
Nice.
Okay.
And we think we may be onto something.
So okay, the dog may have found something, but how could you possibly verify that?
You can verify it by finding a portal.
So what, you went in? You went into the portal that the dog
We can
smelled?
verify it by finding a portal. If we follow the dog and the portal is found, then it's verified. Find the portal, go in the portal, leave the dog outside.
I mean,
We don't give a shit about agency anymore.
If
we
the
don't
dog,
care
if
about
the
that.
dog is sniffing out portals, then maybe that's what the dog does. It's attracted to the portals. Maybe the dog wants to go through the portal. I mean, how are you gonna know? Fuck! So what, you're gonna give the dog a piece of Francis's underwear and it's gonna sniff around for Francis in the ether? Really? That's what we're doing? So what if Francis is accidentally, like, stumbled into the fucking closet of Narnia and cannot come back?
That's not really how the order works.
But some people call me Flamo. I just feel like there's so much about this world, or more specifically other alternate worlds, that no one really knows about, and this world can get kind of boring sometimes, and there's no point in not finding out about it. There's so many opportunities and possibilities for the real world applications of finding these portals and wormholes through time and space, you know? Well, about 6 months ago, I was playing video games and I noticed that when I made my characters travel between locations on the map, they could use a fast travel system and that I didn't have to walk them all the way there. So I was wondering if things like that could be developed in real life or discovered, and I did some research and I discovered the warp demons. I just closed the rift. And I saved the day.
What did you do?